everyone. Welcome to Sonic Revolution 2023. I'm here with special guest, Jason Griffith.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It's such an honor to meet you. It's been, Sonic.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I didn't actually know I would be here today. I found out 24 hours ago.
Right, yeah. A lot of people were really, including me, were really surprised when the announcement came in 1 hour before 11 yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were all freaking out. We're like, what? You're going to be here?
Yeah.
And this is amazing.
I know. Yeah, my agent called me up. We were at an event in Redlands. And initially we had to say no to this convention because there was another event that cleared up, and he said, if you want to do this one, we'll get you in. And I said, yeah, of course. And I'd heard so much about it, and I know Emmy, and this is my first time meeting Ryan. I know Pete. So it was really cool. Great attendance too. Like, everybody is so, the one thing I find about Sonic fans, they're just so genuine, and they're so personable, and they're so willing to share their experience with you, and it just means so much.
Speaking on Sonic, your life has basically revolved around Sonic ever since, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you started voicing the Blue Little Hedgehog in Sonic X, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I was 22 years old.
So tell me about that experience. How did you go from doing that Sonic the character?
Well, it was terrifying because it was really the biggest thing I'd ever done. That same year, a couple months prior, I'd done one anime called Gravitation. That was my first animation ever. And the director of that said, you know what? Fox is holding their Saturday morning cartoon lineup auditions next week. You should get an audition. So I had my agent give me an audition. I went in for something called Shaman King, which I did not book. I didn't even get a call back, and I was like, well, that was that. And then the week after, they called me back in to audition for Sonic, and I just thought it went horrible. Left that audition, and then I got a call back. And I did the call back, and because I was much younger then, I was 22, I was very self-doubting and very new to voiceovers. I thought that went horribly. And it turns out I was working as an intern in my agent's office at the time. My agent was out of town, and when 4Kids called to book me, I answered the phone, and they had no idea it was me. So they said, yeah, Frontier, can I help you? And I said, yes, Jason Griffith came in to audition for Sonic the Hedgehog last week. I was thinking, oh, great, I get to hear the rejection firsthand. This is great. I said, oh, yes, I'm familiar with Jason. Yes, we'd like to book him on Wednesday for Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was like, I almost fell out of the chair for two reasons. Because first of all, like, what are the odds that I'm going to answer that call that's going to change my life in my agent's office? And second of all, because I couldn't tell them it was me, I was dying to be like, it's me. I was like, oh yes, I'll take the messages. My hand's shaking as I'm writing out all the details. But then, recording it was so much fun, but at the same time it was so terrifying because at every moment I thought, I'm going to lose this job, and they're going to get someone better. And I'm surrounded by all these people who've been doing it for so much longer than me. And the whole 4Kids was just filled with all these people who worked on every show for so many years. And I'm like, why me? I didn't do anything. I hadn't done anything before this. So hold for a hot rod. And so, just as you do when you're younger, you doubt and you kind of let your imagination say, this isn't going to work out, but it worked out. And then over the years, I got to, Sonic went from being sort of nerdy in the beginning, with more of this voice, to this voice when we were in Unleashed. And that was all the directors and the producers kind of shifting me into that phase. And I remember, I forget who it was in particular, but we were recording something and he kept saying, no, you gotta do it. We want him to sound cool now. So I had to start figuring out what that meant. And for me, it was less of this sort of thing where it's, and more very direct and very sharp, so, and that Tom Cruise. Exactly. So yeah, so that's what everybody sort of gravitated to. Everybody I talked to here was like, by Unleashed, that was your best performance. You were so good in Unleashed, and it all had to do with just shaping it over the course of, 7 years.
Going back, were you ever familiarized with the Blue Hedgehog prior to voicing him in Sonic X?
Oh, sure, yeah. So growing up, I got the Nintendos. I got the Nintendo and Super Nintendo for birthday and Christmas. And my sister got the Sega Genesis. So she was the one who had Sonic originally. So we would play Sonic, all Christmas break long. Maybe like a year later, my cousin got a Sega CD, and Sonic CD was on there. Yeah, so we would play that, And every time you would turn it on, it would be Sonic standing there doing the thing with like, bling, 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 Sega, all those, it just brings back so much nostalgia.
Of course. I'm thinking about the 1993, 1994 classic cartoon with, I think, Jaleel White as Sonic, right?
I never watched it.
And then, of course, you in Sonic X, and moving on to the video games. Was it hard for you to transition from a dub over to direction in video games?
No, I don't think so. They're two different beasts, because when you do the cartoon, it's prelay. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not a prelay. It's a dub, because it's already done in Japanese. So we're syncing up to the mouth flaps. With the video game, that was prelay. So everything that, for Shadow the Hedgehog, they gave me a script that was like this thick. It was like a phone book. And, we were just running through it, and there were so many cutscenes and so many variations to each scene that, I got to act. I didn't have to worry about is the timing right for this, or am I, does he pause in talking and everything? I just got to act. So in many ways, it was actually easier to do the video games because of that fact.
I know you not only played Sonic in Sonic X or in video games, but you also got to play Shadow the Hedgehog and Jet. So tell me about those characters. Tell me how you went about developing the voice for Shadow and Jet.
Okay. For Shadow, I was... I remember going in for the audition. They brought me, actually, I was in a session for Sonic when they brought me the art. Engineer named John Dixon, I believe, brought me the art for Shadow, and he's like, I think you should read for this. So I looked at it, and I just thought, what am I going to do with this? And I had just had a roommate named Carl, who was about 15 years older than me, and I thought, I'm going to do Carl's voice for this, because Carl would always... He'd have a cigarette in his hand. He'd talk about the books that he was writing, and very interesting guy to listen to. So I thought, I wonder if I do something like that, and it worked, And then for Jet, I forget if I did Jet first or Usopp first, but there were basically two variations on the same voice.
Because Usopp was up here and he was crazy, and Jet was a little crazy, but he had a little more grit in his voice.
It was more Sonic and Usopp together for Jet. I just inspiration. I would just get a hit from somewhere. It's like, try this, and then you just try it, and if it works, you keep doing it, and if it doesn't, you just refine it until it does. Just like the Sonic voice. I mean, it started somewhere, and a lot of people hated what I did in Sonic X, especially back when it was happening, which is so crazy, because it's like we recorded everything, it came out, and then it just went away. And then 20 years later, it's like everybody who was watching that show is now 35 and coming to conventions like this. So it's like,
and loving it.
Loving it, which is, it's so great because, I never knew that. I just thought, no one's going to remember this. I just thought it came and went and that was it. But I never realized that, it's a 5 or 6 year old watching this then who's going to grow up and that's going to be their childhood. I can't even tell you how many times people tell me, you were my whole childhood, or you helped me out in so many ways. And it's always so touching, but it's always takes me by surprise, because I think, but why? What about what I did? Then I understand, because I could say the same thing about Full House when I was growing up, because, when things were going wrong in my house and I just wanted to escape or whatever, just put on Full House, and I felt like I was part of the Tanner family. And, I'm sure for other people, they'd be like, what are you talking about? But I fully understand it, putting it in those terms.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can relate to that with the X-Files.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Adventures, right? Yeah,
it's that nostalgic, too. It's nostalgic factor,
Yeah, and then meeting the persons in life, in real life, it's more of a great honor. How was it transitioning from Sonic, and then all of a sudden, the one who took over was Roger Craig Smith, who's known for voicing Chris Redfield in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It just happened, one day, I think I was being invited to E3. I think it's called E3. And they said, you're going to stand behind a screen, and there's going to be a Sonic talking. You're going to be in a microphone. And they said, okay, stand by for details. And I never heard any details. And then... and that was it. And then I just heard over the internet or something, there's this guy going to be playing Sonic now. And, so that I really found out through back channels, as nobody ever approached me and said, someone's going to be taking over for you. But that doesn't happen, and it very rarely happens in this business. So in the beginning it was heartbreaking because it's like, oh man, that's, you feel, I've been Sonic for 7 years, and like I really felt like, oh, this is my thing, and then for it to go away, it's like, it's any sort of relationship. You break up, and it's like you have this moment where you feel devastated, but then I moved on, and I came to the realization that if it hadn't been for Sonic, that I wouldn't have a career today. It opened so many doors for me, and how could I be upset that someone else gets to have that experience now?
You cherish the memories nonetheless, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Before we end this interview, can you give us a little taste of Sonic and Shadow?
Sure. Well, if you want a little taste of Sonic likes vegan pizza. I like vegan pizza as well. What kind of vegan pizza do you like? Vegan pepperoni. Oh, no. I like broccoli. Broccoli. Well, why? What do you have against broccoli, Shadow? I like onions. Well, we can both like broccoli and onions. You're right. I'll never doubt you again.
Isn't a vegetarian pizza a fake pizza?
It's a fake pizza! Jet the Hawk!
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Again, and to relate what fans say, once again, I'm pretty sure it's the cliche, but you're my childhood.
So
thank you so much.
I see. Again, I'm like, what? Oh, right. Because again, I look at you and I'm like, oh, we must be the same age. No, of course you're younger than me. So,
my cameraman is.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So it's like, it's easy to forget. It's like you guys weren't 22 when it came out. It's like your kids watching it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys, for the wonderful support watching this awesome interview with Jason. Hopefully you guys had fun watching this as much as I had fun doing the interview. I also want to take the time to thank all my viewers for the wonderful support you guys have given me in the past month. I know it's been hectic over here with me trying to produce more videos, artwork, and for the first time ever, I'm happy to announce that we will be releasing merchandise soon, so stay tuned for that. You could always check out the updates on our community tab on our channel. With that being said, after this, I am headed off to Anime Expo, where I'll be bringing you more awesome content, both on our YouTube channel and the website. And with that being said, you guys, I'll leave you guys with these awesome videos and interviews I know you'll love, and I'll see you guys next time.